Hi, I'm Shirley. I am a journalist on camera host / A&R in Los Angeles, and you are tuned into Heavy Talk.
So I'm super, super, super excited to talk to somebody that I've known. Shirley, I've known you for a minute. I met you when you worked for Hip Hop DX, but since then you've really taken off like crazy. So I want you to tell us a little bit about who Shirley is. Super cool, super laid back Cali girl that interviews all the cool people.
I appreciate that. Honestly, I feel like hard work speaks for itself. Like I never in a million years thought I would be where I am. I kind of just put my head down and worked, to be honest. Like I don't even like writing. Like to be honest, I fell into an internship at Hip Hop DX. And that's how I got my start. Before that I wrote for like Hot New Hip Hop and True Magazine, but that was when I really became a part of a company and was able to, really represent them and do more than just write. I was able to run the music section. I was able to do socials. From there, I just grew my bylines. I was reaching out to Complex. I was writing for Nylon. I was writing for a lot of outlets. And then it comes from a very pure place of just love for music. At the end of the day, that's what's kind of the driving force. Like I love talking to these artists about their music specifically. So since then, 10 years later, I'm writing for Variety, OK Player, Revolt. I have my own show on Baller Alert, Candy Pens. I was working at Power 106, the radio station, but I was furloughed due to COVID, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just kind of been like putting my head down and working, to be honest. That's kind of been the key factor, I think, in all of this. Because
Yeah.
I truly believe that hard work pays off and like speaks for itself. Like I never, sometimes I tweet like, oh, working on the weekend like usual, but like typically I'm just my head down working. Like I don't complain. I just do it. I go home and write till like 4 a.m. to get shit done on time. It's like, I just kind of fucking do it.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of your approach to work, like a lot of our audience is comprised of, emerging entrepreneurs, emerging artists, emerging producers. Um, you know, Based on what you just said, you just seem to kind of roll up your sleeves and just go. You know what I mean?
Right.
What is some advice that you could give to people coming into this in this business that you've had what like a decade career, right? At this point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, again, just work hard and like don't be afraid to ask. A lot of my opportunities came with me just literally going for it. I think there's definitely a fine line between annoying and persistent. And I've definitely lost that line many times, but I really think just go for it. Like you never know unless you ask type thing.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of my opportunities came with just like a simple like, hey, are you guys, just like asking on your mind, like putting things into existence, things, ideas, like writing them down. Like you can come up with so many ideas and you'll forget them later. Just like writing everything down and executing, like not being afraid to follow up and like all that, for sure.
No, for sure, for sure. And then, you're a very popular journalist. You interviewed legends like Nick Cannon, Lil Boosie, Cameron, The Game, Fat Joe, Chains, Jeezy, and then also new stars like Sweetie, who we, briefly talked about off camera, but Sweetie, Meg Thee Stallion, Roddy Ricch, Blueface,
Right.
Mulatto, Russ. So, what are some secrets to having a really good interview from a journalist perspective? Like, obviously I've worked in PR forever. So what do you look for when, you're interviewing somebody or not what you look for, but how do you conduct a really good interview to get, engage people?
Right. So I've actually learned this recently because before I was really going by the script. I would prepare the evening before, try to come up with questions that haven't been asked, researching, doing all that. And then my editor at the Hundreds actually told me like, no, like don't go into it reading off a list of questions. Go with like have a conversation. Like let them dictate where the conversation goes, you know, like try to let them open up and see what is engaging to them. Like kind of just go with the flow of the conversation. Don't read
Mhm.
off a list. You know, I think there's obviously multiple ways to do it, but just like really giving them your time of day and like hearing them and like responding to what they're saying versus just reading off a list is huge. I mean, obviously do your research and all that, but I think
Right.
it's definitely a game changer for me for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And then I guess on the flip side too, like what are some things that you dislike, you know, when you're interviewing somebody? Like, I know one of my good friends, she's a writer, and she said one of the rappers she interviewed, he was getting a tattoo. And this was over the phone. They were doing a phone interview, and the guy was getting a tattoo
Oh,
at the time of their interview. And she said it was so loud and it was so like annoying, and she never wanted to talk to him again. So, are there some things that turn you off about artists or producers or
to be
anybody?
honest, to be honest, when there's a time frame, like when it's like, oh, you only have 5 minutes, they're about to go on to perform, and they're like in a rush to, you know, like I hate that. I hate that.
Yeah.
Um, definitely no shade if you do this, but I hate when the PR is like controlling and be like, let's skip that question, or like, hey, you have 1 minute left for no reason, like no reason at all, like
Yeah.
that just because like I'll be having a great flow with an artist and then they'll just like kill the vibe. I hate that. um,
Yeah.
when the artist is not present and they give me one word answers, that just turns it off and then I don't even want to talk to them. So
Yeah. Yeah. And you brought up a really good point. Like, you know, a publicist's job is it's interesting because it's that fine line, what you said earlier, between being persistent but then
mhm,
also annoying, right?
right.
So,
That's,
like, what are some ways for any of our publicists that are out there watching this? Like, what are some things that you feel like we could do better, or how can we garner our clients' interest without being annoying, in your opinion?
I think emailing is the best route. Like I've gotten random calls and I'm like, how did you get my number? I would not have picked up, you know, like
Yeah.
because I pick up random numbers. I don't know why, but I just think emailing a pitch is the best way. Like I outlining the socials. Like another thing that bugs me, and I feel bad saying this because I don't. It's not anybody's fault, but like a lot of people will pitch me like the most obscure artists for Variety, and it's just like, you know, Variety is a top-notch publication. It's like, why would we cover an up and coming? So just like, I hate when people just see my bylines and they assume they can pitch me for these big outlets when it's just not possible. Like,
Right.
you can send me a pitch, but don't specify what you're looking for. Like, let me tell you like what is possible type thing. I don't know.
Mhm.
I get a lot of like, hey, for Variety, for Revolt, and it's like, this artist is unknown, so why would we cover them on there? I don't know. That's
Right.
just my personal thing because I write for these publications and just
Sure.
knowing like people don't understand that I pitch to my editors and like it is a whole damn process. Like she turns down 90% of my pitches. So like you
Really.
can only imagine like me getting pitched and then trying, you know, like a lot of times I'll forward things, but people don't
Hmm.
understand that I have to pitch to an editor as well. Like I don't really have free reign like people think I do.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely one.
So, what is a good pitch? What?
Damn. Okay. Right. That part. And the music has to be good. Like honestly, if the music is trash, like then I just assume you're doing it for money. But a good story, like give me something about them. Like I hate when I interview an artist and there's literally nothing to say. Like for
Mhm.
example, I interviewed this artist. She's with Def Jam. Her name is Nevaeh Jolie, and like we literally could have kept talking for an hour. She's only 19. She had so much to say,
Uh-huh.
like from you know her love for music, her love for fashion, her love for video games, how it all ties into her music. Like she
Mhm.
had so much to say, and we just like I could literally listen to her talk forever. So like I love when an artist has a story to tell. You
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
that, that's huge.
Yeah. I agree. I totally agree. Um, And then, you know, you're really great on social media. I've seen you grow your following over the years. So, what are some of your top ways for our audience who may be struggling in that area to grow their followers?
Man, honestly, I feel like there is no real, like, I'll literally post something and I'll lose like 1,000 followers. Like, I really like the numbers game. To me is just so like, I'm over it at this point. I don't really care. I just kind of, like I said, put my head down and work. But you know, the best way I've gained is by going on live with people. Like, you know, I go on live from my personal page, and I've gone live with a lot of people. I would say the most I've gotten is from Black China, going live with Black China. You know, she has like 16 million, but just organic ways, stuff like that. Like, you know, I know it's so easy to people followers nowadays, but just dope content too. Like, I know, like, for instance, I interviewed this artist and he checked me out before and he was like, your page is so dope, you can tell that you just don't give a fuck. And like, I never knew I gave off that vibe, but like, I was just being me. So I think when you're truly yourself and like people can see genuinely who you are without faking it, like that goes a long way. Sorry, there's an airplane.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah. I used to live in Ladera Heights, so
Oh my gosh.
not far from the airport.
Right.
Yeah. Um, you know, and speaking of, I know you mentioned the artist on Def Jam, but who has been like your best interview, would you say? Obviously, that was one example, but is there somebody else that you've interviewed a few times and you always look forward to interviewing them?
Oh, that's so funny. I mean, I love randomly because someone just pitched me Cowboy today, and I was like, that's my homie. Like, I've interviewed him so many times, and he's just so great. Like, last time I went on live with him, he showed me his petting zoo at his house in Atlanta. Like, he literally had dogs, like reptiles, like I don't even know what other fucking animals they were, fish, you know, like he just had, and then he showed me his arcade room. Like, I love, and like this just reminds me when I like do FaceTime interviews or whatever. Like, I interviewed Lil Mosey recently. He showed me his plaque, his chains. Like, I love when they're willing to show like a side of them that
Yeah.
it's not just like a dry interview. Like, they're down to like show you parts of their lives that like make up who they are. It's just super dope to me.
Who are your influences, Shirley? Like, who influences you?
Man, I mean, I fell in love with Eminem. That's how I fell in love with hip hop.
Okay.
But
That's your love and hip hop story. How did you fall in love with hip hop?
8th grade, I was an angry ass child. I didn't understand my Asian ass parents. I was angry. I put on my headphones, listened to Eminem show, really, 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 really like just related and like felt to Eminem. Like, I literally was like, why are my parents like this? Why am, you know, like they were super traditional Chinese. They were like curfew, wouldn't let me do anything. So Eminem was my saving grace. I just like tuned them out and just put on Eminem. But I have a really, really big soft spot for like real personal, I guess you would call it pain music, but like it doesn't have to be categorized as pain music. Like Mozzie speaks to me, Polo G speaks to me, G Herbo speaks to me. More turn up shit, Key Glock and Dolph speak to me. I love that hard shit, definitely.
Yeah.
I think WAP is genius. Yeah, I just like that hard shit.
How important is self-care to you? And like, what are some ways that you've been able to decompress and not get so caught up?
Right, that is a whole book of worms, I swear, because self-care has been like my biggest struggle, I would say, just given my workload and schedule. Like, I used to have really bad insomnia too, so that would just like throw my whole day off. And then I'd be trying to play catch up all day. But like, honestly, getting a dog changed my life because now I can just have him in my lap while I write, and it eases my anxiety. But I do suffer from depression and anxiety really often. Like, social media gets to me sometimes. You know, I find myself comparing, and like, I hate, my biggest pet peeve is when people hate me and was like, and says like, wow, you're living the life. I don't know why that bugs me so much, because people don't understand the work that I put into this. Like, I'm literally like working the majority of it, you know? So before quarantine, I was getting massages weekly. Obviously that kind of stopped because of COVID, which reminds me I need to get a massage. But I've been trying to meditate, you know, daily just to get my mind right.
Right.
Just yeah, just being grateful too is like so huge too. Just like reminding yourself that, you know, like I see homeless people and I'm like I should not be complaining about my like pity problems in my head, you know? That's how I feel. I just like I'm a very like introspective, like, you know, it could be worse.
If you could pick 3 songs that are the soundtrack to your life.
I have a tattoo. It's my favorite Joey Badass songs. You probably can't see it, but it says "Love is only a feeling."
Okay.
That song has got me through a lot of depression.
Mm-hmm.
Um, damn, "Tomorrow Ain't Promised" by Mozzie, Lil Boozy, and Rex Life Raj. I love that song. That
Okay.
song makes me cry. Oh, shit. I got one more.
One more.
Man, I mean, my tattoos, man. I got a Bless tattoo from Kendrick Lamar, Schoolboy Q, Bless.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
yeah.
Okay. 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 And I know I said that was it, but is there like a certain motto you live by or a book that you read that changed your life? Obviously, I know music has done that, but is there or a lyric? I mean, I know you just read off one of your
Yeah.
tattoo, but is there anything that maybe like career wise that really like spoke to you and it's something that you go back to every time you feel like your world is either out of control or it gives you motivation to keep going?
I have another tattoo on my like back of my ankle, I guess. It's a queen crown. It was supposed to be a queen chess piece, but she didn't have time to do that much. But it's Jadakiss's line in his song with Currency, Pot Jar, says, "Don't let the small every day above ground is a chess move, don't let the small things stress you."
I gotta ask one more question about this A&R, like
Yeah.
because we got a lot of A&Rs in our crew. So like how did you get into A&R and like what's some advice for people that are wanting to go in that direction?
Right. Well, right now I just building my relationships and Rolodex of cards, you know, like I just been putting my friends in the studio. Like whenever people hit me like, "Hey, do you know this person? Like I want to get in with them." And most of the time they're super down. Sometimes they're not, you know, the bigger artists, but just connecting dope people and just thinking of like how dope the dope music they would make together. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I've just been doing it. Like I said, just not really waiting for nobody and just going for it. Relationships, man. Relationships are everything. Literally,
Mm-hmm.
literally everything. Just being able to communicate and like foster relationships, you know?
I hope you enjoyed that episode between me and Shirley. She's an amazing person. Hope you learned something from it and or got inspired by it. But be sure to check us out every week where we're bringing you some great one-on-one conversations with some of the dopest and most influential people, especially behind the scenes in the industry. If you like what you see, what you hear, please be sure to subscribe and also share.